What is up, Model Railroaders? It's your boy Tanker26. Today I'm going to be reviewing another articulated steam locomotive of mine that I really did like, and like my Allegheny, has some problems, but those problems have developed over time, because this locomotive is only slightly younger than that of my Allegheny. So this is a 2662T. The T actually stands for tenderless. This is a logging mallet, by the way. This is a logging railroad locomotive. It is not an articulated tank engine. I wish it was for, like mainline traffic. But nonetheless, this logging mallet, DCC and sound equipped. I really do like my articulated steam locomotives, but you know what? That's just my thing, and obviously your thing for your certain thing in model railroading will differ. One thing I should point out is that this locomotive, at least for me, in the beginning, was notorious for short-circuiting the layout. And it wasn't actually because of the track or anything. It was just the locomotive would ride not too well, and the front truck would start to spark. And it quite often did that in the beginning. In fact, I think the first time I bought this from the my local model train shop, I had to return it the very next day because it was sparking so much and it didn't run well. And so they exchanged it out for another one that they had in the store. Not saying this is a bad locomotive, it's just the one that I got was a bit faulty. But they did exchange it for a new one, free of charge. So, now, amongst all my articulated steam locomotives, this is by far the smallest, mostly because it doesn't have a tender, but also the drive wheels are significantly smaller than in comparison to my cab forward, my big boy, or my Allegheny in comparison. But then again, it didn't do mainline freights like they did. This was a logging railroad, so a smaller railroad with not as heavy of loads. Like I said, it's DCC and sound equipped, so let's go over some functions. Starting with the headlights, which I will admit, this headlight, besides, I think the only headlight that is brighter than this is actually surprisingly the Alco DL109 that Dotson B210 allowed me to borrow. That thing has a really bright headlight, and this is not too far behind it actually, in terms of headlight brightness. It also, as you might have noticed on the roof of the cab, there is also a rear-mounted headlight if you throw it in reverse, such as this. So I'll throw in reverse, that light will turn off, and the rear light turns on. Simple that. Alright, sound functions. Starting off with a bell. Now, before I do the whistle, I would like to know that before I got my cab forward, this whistle was my favorite whistle out of any steam engine that I've heard in a long time, besides Train Simulator, of course. Number 3 is blowdown. Number 4, that was coupler clank. It doesn't do anything. 6 doesn't do anything. I think that was also another different variation. No, that was definitely coupler clank. So now what was that? Must have been a clearing piston. And then obviously... it doesn't mute it. Comments below what the heck that sound was. I have no idea what that was. And obviously, turn on and off the headlight. This is, I mean, it's a good runner. It's definitely a good runner. It still is. Has some problems here and there. I mean, mostly because it runs on hills. My layout is a bit hilly because of the bridges. But that sort of thing cannot be helped. And it does pretty decent. However, I will say the flanges on the wheels, I'm suspecting that they're not necessarily good for Code 100 type rails. If you don't want to know what that is, Google it, because I don't possess the knowledge in order to go into detail about the different code rail heights in model railroading. So I'm going to move this locomotive slightly forward, and you can't really see it. Synchronized chuffing also. You can't really see on the camera, but if I throw it, I'm throwing it in reverse, as it will pull back out. Oh my, where did those come from? Yeah, no, I'm just joking. Of course, like my Allegheny that I did earlier, this is a good hauler. It is a good puller. It's not particularly fast, but then again, as you saw before by the small size of its drive wheels, I'm not surprised that it's slow in comparison to some of the other locomotives, articulate steam locomotives that I have. And yeah, I think that'll do it. I think the company that makes this is Manitoba. I don't really know how to pronounce it. That's it. So that does it for my logging mallet review. You know the drill. I hope it was a thrill. Hope you learned something new. Until next time, model railroaders. All aboard!